for us?
Yep.
Phone here.
Heavenly Father, we remember that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God, Romans 10:17. So when discouragement comes, and you find that you have been walking by sight instead of by faith, head back to the Scriptures and let the promises of God build your faith back up to strength. Amen.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, first order of business here is requesting the board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of July 28, 2020. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jim?
Yes.
Aye. Okay. And financials, Adrian?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So today's financials include a supplemental for mental health to fund the newly instituted programs for Chardon Schools, the drug court, and K-12 school prevention programs. Cash transfer from the coronavirus relief fund to various departments to reimburse them for unbudgeted expenses incurred as a result of the pandemic in accordance with Resolution of Acceptance 20-96. Encumbrances include 2 then and nows, one from the Clerk of Courts for Courtview Justice Solutions, and from the Juvenile Court to the Ohio Supreme Court for a 2020 assigned judge's invoice. Both of these were not previously encumbered. Vouchers include $75,000 from the Department of Development, Community Development to J&E and 3 for a local revolving loan for the Pond Ice Rink. $35,850 from the Department of Development, Community Development to Burton Scott Contractors, LLC for the parking lot paving project at the DDC Clinic in Middlefield, and $20,100 from maintenance to Best Solutions Medical Supply for the purpose of providing hand sanitizing stations in various county buildings.
Okay, make that motion.
Second.
Aye.
Commissioner?
Yes.
And yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Resolution 20-99. This is a resolution of acceptance for the CARES Act expenditures for this week. The total is $91,009.64. For reimbursement, we have $16,410.11, and that's $44,682.11 from the Clerk of Courts for personal protective equipment and a laptop for remote working. $9,597.39 from Emergency Services for PPE and sanitation. And from the Engineer's Office, $5,381.36. This includes 3 monitors, 5 computers, 1 printer, and security camera system to aid social distancing in the workplace. For the proposed, we have $74,599.53, and that's $12,911.95 from the Prosecutor's Office for 5 laptops with accessories for remote working. $39,276 from the Sheriff's Office for 2 ultraviolet portable area sanitizers, and $22,411.58 from Transit. This includes 3 industrial fans for air circulation, replacement of 59 cloth chairs and 2 end tables for social distancing and tile flooring.
Okay. And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Ford?
Yes.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spillier?
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the budget hearing schedule for the 2021 permanent appropriations budget.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Ford?
Yes.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spillier?
And the next 2 items on the agenda are one from the Auditor's Office to execute and file the monthly statements of county finances for the months of January through July 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Ford?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
And then the next one's for the Treasurer's Office.
Okay.
Or did the motion cover both of those?
We'll just,
No.
we didn't. If you want to just talk about 6 and then we'll
Sure.
put that in motion.
So the Treasurer's Office is also requesting the board accept, execute, and file the monthly statements of county finances for the months of January through July 2020.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Ford?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. All right.
Jerry, do they need to sign all those right at this time?
We'll get to that
Later?
probably at the end. That's quite a bit there. So, is there someone from the auditor's office?
There is not, I got
Okay.
this covered. This is between the auditor's office and the dog warden. This is to do the dog licenses for this year. They're actually gonna be able to do them online. So this is the 3-year agreement to be able to do renewal dog licenses online.
Okay. All right, so I'll make that motion,
Second on 7.
and,
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier?
aye. So, hey, Carmel,
Yeah.
how are you?
Okay.
Good, good.
Here's the original.
Alrighty.
He signs. All right, the first item here is our first agricultural easement purchase program. This is one that was started in 2018 with the Anna Farm in Troy Township. We are at the point of closing right now. So this is to sign the escrow agreement between Western Reserve Title Company, the Anna, and the county commissioners and the Ohio Department of Agriculture. So we
Okay,
can actually close on this.
sounds good. Make that motion.
Second.
Ask Jerry what that red one is. I'll give me back. I'll do that.
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier.
Yes. And for number 9, then, Carmel?
Yes, okay. Number 9 is the update of our soil, the county's water management and sediment control regulations. This is to get them in compliance with our MS4 permit that was in 2018 and construction general permit from the EPA that was updated. So basically went through the regulations and made sure everything was compliant and updated the options for different management techniques.
Okay, I'll make that
Setting
motion.
the legal notice hearings.
For sure. I know that's a lot of red tape that you have to go through. There are a lot of hoops to jump through, so I appreciate that. So I'll make a motion for number 9.
Second.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Hey Jerry, on this here, we've got a red signature. What do you want us to do? I gotta sign that second form also, but just to make sure that we cover all of our bases there.
And can I get the original on
So,
the escrow agreements?
Yeah, that's nothing for you.
okay.
Christie said
Then
you
Jim, I
had a
just
copy
gotta
too,
sign
so then
this
shoot,
page.
okay, yeah. I just need to
Sign
take
the
you.
second.
Second.
So don't sign the red right
Okay,
here.
sure. Okay, that's fine. Let's see, where's the?
You're good with everything there?
Did you change this? There's the action.
I did change this one, and this is, I just changed yours.
Okay, got
And-
it. Perfect. Thank you.
We got the
Yeah.
signature on that one too, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Carmel. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Yeah, you got a few minutes before 9:15.
so what we'll do then is we'll wait, DES, Roger, how are you?
Good. Got 3 minutes.
Okay, sir. Tammy Spencer, when she left the county, we needed to fill her spot on LETC, so Teresa Mateo, her new hire for the health department submitted, and so we are requesting you appoint Teresa.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Yep, thank you. And Water Resources?
I can cover this one quickly.
Okay.
This is their 3-year contract for their fuel that they went out for bid. They've been doing it year to year, but decided to go out for 3 years to get a better deal.
Fair enough, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. And, Jerry, explain number 13 real quick. Do you have time? Oh, Kelly's here, sorry about that.
That's okay. So we are requesting to acknowledge that on June 14th, Interactive Health and Wellness filed bankruptcy, and Sedco obtained HealthWorks to compile the data for completion of the 2019-2020 wellness program. And that was to ensure that eligible participating Johnson County employees got their requirements to complete the program in the wellness. healthcare rates for 2021.
I make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
And it's that time of year that we have to renew our healthcare rates.
Okay.
So number 14 is requesting to approve the Sepco Charlotte County rate renewal acceptance for 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
And number 15 is requesting the acceptance of the 2021 Charlotte County Sepco Anthem Healthcare Anthem RX prescription adopted medical rental plans and rates. Along with the Charlotte County employee contribution rates and to further approve the president and vice president to execute the Sepco Charlotte County 1C and 4D plans and the summary benefit forms effective January 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
And finally, number 16, requesting to approve the 2021 Geauga County employee waiver rates to be effective January 31st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we're right about 9:15. So we'll have, we're going to need a motion to waive the reading or the hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Morning.
Morning.
Commissioner
Morning,
DeWort?
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
So the reason for the public hearing today is to, we're proposing an amendment to our standard specifications and procedures for the design and construction of subdivision roads in Geauga County. It's a document that's already been adopted by the commissioners. The last update was in August of 2014. The county engineer's office invited trustees and community partners to come and discuss concerns or what their thoughts were on our subdivisions based on recent, issues that they've had with maintenance. So we have gone through, updated the regulations that basically bring it from regulations, ODOT specifications from 2014 to date. So if there was a change in the a type of an intermediate course, the way it was named, we made sure our document matched the ODOT specifications. So that was handled throughout. We modified some of our language within the survey-related items. That information basically, we had it maybe at one point in time said surveyor. We made it to say professional registered surveyor and engineer, so that it is more strict as to who could and can't do, the certain work that we have in here. And then we made some modifications to our pavement composition to meet the needs of the agencies that will assist with future maintenance, so it'll make it easier for them to do future maintenance on these roads. The meeting that we had with the townships was March 13th, and then the modifications included, this has been publicly, out for 30 days as required by law, by the ORC. So, other than that, maybe some clarifications, very simple, just a standard update that we should do with our regulations from, 6 years of it being out on the street. Everywhere you'll find a change here or there, or a verbiage that was, incorrect that needed to be modified. But for the most part, it was a update to 2020, bringing current regs up to date, and then we did make some modifications to our pavement compositions.
And all these changes are given to all the public, or
The townships were included when we made a presentation to them. Jerry, you were invited to that presentation. The township provided comments. We're all basically in support. Just a question here, what was a drainage maintenance district, a clarification of items that they weren't sure were in the document at that meeting. We answered all those questions, so they have seen this document.
good.
Oh, and I think that it sounds like a broken record saying this, but, we're super blessed to have the engineer's office that we have. Joe, under your leadership there, and just the teamwork that you have with, Frank, everyone that's there working together, and it's like, you go to these other counties and see their road conditions and just the maintenance on it. We're super lucky. It's just, I can't say enough, and it's just, we're fortunate to have you, and just keep up the good work. And I know that sometimes it goes unnoticed, but honestly, it's very well appreciated. And keeping our motorists safe and, you know, is really the biggest thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Yep.
Appreciate it, and the support you guys always give us.
Yep,
We
yep.
appreciate that. You guys are great to work with.
Thanks. So,
So the intent for this would be to see if there's any public comments.
okay, any public comments on this? So
Can it be on
there's,
separate things or just on that?
just on this.
Just that has a
yeah,
public
so-
hearing section.
So at this point, there's no other public comments, so we'll close at, glare on that, 9:20. And do we need to
You have a motion to close?
make a motion to close on this, Jerry?
During the hearing,
To adjourn the hearing,
Okay.
adjourn the hearing and return the meeting.
All right.
I make a motion to adjourn the
And I'll
hearing.
second that.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Then I make a motion for 10 to pass it.
Intent, well, we have to gather additional comments, so we'll go back
That'll be a
and,
few weeks down the road.
Okay.
right, and then we'll make a recommendation based on all the comments we've received, because there was public, so they could be mailed in or emailed in, or, so we'll grab those comments and then we'll make a recommendation to the board to adopt.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda here is to acknowledge the public depositories. We went out to bid, came, got 6, and the treasurer's office recommended utilizing all 6. Actually, we didn't go out for bid, it was out for proposals. Sorry. So this is just to approve all 6.
I make a motion for 17.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Okay, 18 and 19 go together. 18, this is regarding the outside counsel, utilizing Thrasher, Dinsmore, and Dolan for the commissioner's outside counsel for things that the prosecutor's office cannot use. Back on August 11th, we approved that, or commissioners approved that. We had to rescind that and redo it due to some adjustments that were needed to be done.
Make a motion for 18 and 19.
I'll second both of those.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
One addition, on Friday, we received from the probate court the judgment entries for the 2 cases regarding the Chardon Sewer Project. We're looking to appeal those decisions. They were not, from our perspective, the decisions were not in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code. It was ordered that basically that they were not permitted, the judge was not permitted to rule on necessity of project because it's an EPA findings and orders, and the basic ruling was the necessity of the project as opposed to the boundary of the assessment or the cost of the assessment. So we're asking that the commissioners approve filing a notice of appeal of the judgment entries and to authorize filing the appeal.
So Jerry, just layman's terms, give me some clarification on that as far as,
What the appeal was on was the assessment for the sewer project.
okay,
It was Chuck DeCillo and Joanne Egan, who were property owners, filed appeals to the assessment. But the decision was basically more along the necessity of the project, that it shouldn't be done. It shouldn't be, nobody should be assessed, because the project shouldn't be done until everybody in that area is tested. Septic systems are tested, so what we're looking to appeal is that decision,
I see.
so that we can move forward with the project. We'd like that, we're still, there's no decision nothing in the decision that keeps us from moving forward with the project, but it's basically that nobody can be included in the sewer system. What we'd like to do is actually, because we know we have at least 50% of the septic systems in that area will fail based off of the history, and that over 50% of them are original,
Wow.
50s and 60s. And, doing, based on point of sale, over the last 10 years, everybody who had an original system failed. So we know that, based on that, they're gonna fail.
Yeah, and through this whole thing, you just hope that people don't start getting sick, with
Exactly.
with what, with what's there, right, Steve?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a public health nuisance, and as Jerry said, it's all accurate. Planning to issue a notice to proceed so we can get moving on the project. Because we're still under the findings and orders, the
Yeah.
deadline.
Oh,
There were, in both decisions, there were a number of statements that were made in there that were factually incorrect also.
Yes.
wow.
So we need a motion.
So, yeah, the official motion is, Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve filing a notice of appeal of the judgment entry decisions in case number 19P000504, Charles DeSillo v. Geauga County Board of Commissioners, and case number 19PC000503, In re Chardon Township wastewater treatment plant and sewer project regarding the Chardon Township wastewater treatment plant and sewer project in the Berkshire Heights subdivision, and further authorize the filing of the appeal.
I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
And Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Okay. So, one more thing that I would like to bring up today is, I'm not sure how many people here had heard about the situation Friday night at the football game that took some courageous young men on the football team to carry a blue line flag for the at the beginning of the football game there, and our superintendent put out a letter, I believe it was yesterday morning, basically stating that basically he doesn't support, and that will be terminated from any future games to represent the blue line flag or any flag in that sense. So I just, it bothers me quite a bit, and it bothered me all day yesterday after I had found this out. Had an outpour of people calling me last night and into almost midnight last night, of people basically saying, what steps do we take, what can we do? So I'd just like to read something. This is a letter that I'm going to send to the superintendent Hanlon, and also to all the members of the Chardon School Board. It says, Mr. Hanlon, as you may be unaware, unlike you, I actually am a true representative of the people of Geauga County, voted in and not appointed. The last 3 election terms, I have had to face opposition in each election cycle. Each time my vote count became stronger because of my strong representation and voice of the values and beliefs of the majority of the residents of Geauga County. Words cannot explain the anger, frustration, and disappointment that I felt while reading your letter to community members. As a commissioned law enforcement officer for almost 30 years and still actively commissioned, I am appalled that someone in your position would take a stance that does not genuinely recognize the courage of these young men by honoring our first responders. These young men expressed gratitude, care, and love for our community and our country. Your letter sickens me, and so many others that have reached out to me and expressed the same disgust with your inability to stand up and recognize their patriotism. As for your comment of how this gesture could be interpreted as a racially motivated action, I proudly served next to law enforcement officers of all colors, ethnicities, and religious beliefs. That flag and the blue line represents and gives respect and honor to all of our men and women who risk their lives every day and those that have died while serving. On February 27th of 2012, 6 students were shot at. 3 died at the high school in Chardon. Upholding the oath to protect and serve, it was our first responders, including our police, our sheriff deputies, our state troopers, firefighters, and EMS, that without hesitation and fear for their life entered the school building to render safety and care for those victims and for the safety of all the students and the staff. To the Chardon football team, coaches, and parents, on behalf of the great people of Geauga County and I, we thank you and God bless you. Always remember, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. As for you, Mr. Hanlon, you have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that you do not carry the compassion, understanding, and leadership quality that is required in your position as Geauga County Commissioner, also as the Vice President of Blue Line Unlimited, and a tax-paying resident of Chardon School District. I am requesting you consider stepping down from your position as superintendent so that our young men and women can learn that your behavior will not be tolerated, and that a superintendent with core values of humanity, accountability, love of our country, and honor can replace you. So, Mr. Hanlon, I am calling out to you, to the board, do the right thing and step down. You are not what represents this county and the great people that live here. Thank you.
You put it in the newspaper?
You just heard it hot off the press.
I submit it to the newspaper and see if they'll print it.
Any questions?
Not at the moment, no, but I appreciate you
And
asking.
I've got some copies here if you want. If you want to take a copy of this, this is exactly what Mr. Hanlon's going to be receiving on his desk today, and so will the board. This is, I am sickened by the direction of our country. We have had men and women die for what our freedom is in this country. And I am proud to stand up and thank our servicemen and women, our military, our police, our fire, everybody that is basically trying their best to keep us protected and safe. And to be able to be this bold and this kind of direction should not be tolerated by any of the residents of this county, nor from the Board of Education that promotes him to this position. And it needs to go. Skip?
So, I read the letter, and there was one comment in there that really incensed me, and he was tying racism to the Blue Line flag. I wear my Blue Line flag today in support of the police. I've always supported the police. I've supported the police in Chesterland big time. We have rallies out there supporting the police on a regular basis. And I was incensed by anybody's effort to tie racism to our police and our first responders. And so I just want to add that comment around to, and I'm in full support of what you just called for.
Thank you.
But I do have one question, and that is, Jim, you were quiet. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I love my country and always support the first responders, the police. My relatives were police captain and fire chief in Bedford years ago. And my heart's in the right place, and we should always promote the police and people that protect us every day.
It's kind of a weak response, Jim. You'll have to excuse me. I mean, this superintendent is the superintendent of the principal.
Well, I just first heard about this maybe 10 minutes ago.
Okay. I mean,
Okay.
This incenses me in terms of just any effort to tie racism to the police department.
I didn't see his letter, his response, didn't see anything on Facebook.
I'd ask you to go read it. So.
I will.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
So, and I see some service members here today, and we appreciate your service.
Well, I think it's rather foolish to have written that in there, because, I spent 27 years on active duty in the Army, and it does nothing. I mean, the country has to decide whether we're citizens of the United States or we're tribes. And I think the only thing that's going to help the country recover is unity and believing in their country, because half the world wants to get into this country. I've been to all the places where people want to get here, yet we're tearing it down from within. And it's just foolish. And his comment about racism and Blue Line just reinforces the notion. I was also a dean at a college for 8 years. after I retired. It reinforces the notion that academics and academia are screaming liberals. It's not necessarily quite true, but boy, what he wrote sure does support that view. And it's disturbing, especially after what happened in Chardon with the mass shooting. How numb can you be to the sensitivities in the region after that happened? And of course, I was at the football game, but did everyone stand up and boo when they brought that flag out? I doubt that. That's not what you typically find. So who is he responding to? That's the question I have. And I agree that everyone has different views on things, but that's just foolish to attack the institutions that actually protect and strengthen the country. You know, it's very disturbing. I got the letter last night very late from my colleague, so I was quite taken aback. But I think he made a wrong move, and I can't disagree with your letter. I think he's going to be in a hard space right now.
Thank you, and thanks for your service also. Yes, sir.
I concur.
State your name for the record here.
Oh, hi, this is Doug Lundblad. I am a colleague of Steve, and I served 27 years in the military myself, and I concur wholly with what you stated and what you support. Obviously, it did take guts for those kids to go out on the field, and Mitch Hewitt, the coach, I put 3 kids through Chardon, and my son played football for Mitch, and Mitch is an outstanding coach and mentor and leader, and always teaches those kids to do the right thing. And it did take courage for those kids to run out on the field with all that was going on in the world with that. And as he said, I take offense that that flag stands for any kind of political representation or racism. It's a flag. What's next? The U.S. flag? Because that's what it's ultimately going to come down to. Every single time that we cave as a community to a few minor people that call in and complain that somebody was upset because we did that or they did that, we can't continue to keep doing this. We see that with our statues and monuments. We see that with school mascots. It has to stop at some point. And again, after serving 27 years in this country and going overseas, such as what Steve did, and we see the oppression occurring in a lot of these countries, and people just don't realize what we have here. Every time we came home from a deployment, we kissed the ground we walked on once we got back here.
Yeah, God bless America, absolutely.
And lastly, the one big thing that we both were involved, I've been in the Balkans for the breakup. I've been in Iraq. I've been in Korea, everywhere. One of the main missions was to establish the rule of law and order. Really? We're not even doing that here.
And one other quick thing is, if the violence continues in this country because they're not supporting the police, they're going to find out how this will spread. And all we have to do is take a stand and let the law enforcement do their jobs, and this will go away. Lawlessness can't stand in this country. And as we sit out here in the rural areas, and it doesn't affect a lot of us because we don't see a city burning. But one of these days we're going to look out our window and these people are going to be at our doorsteps, and it's going to be too late. So we definitely need to support our law enforcement and our first responders because we need them every day out there more than ever.
And the other fact too, Doug, and I appreciate your comments and thank you for your service, is that we are seeing these acts of violence and the protest, but in a lot of those areas where that is happening, there are some great people that are caught in that situation that I pray for every day, that do not have a chance to escape it and are being put in a very bad position of risk. And that's something that we can't overlook, is that, you know, they're living in fear every day, wondering if they're going to be the next house that gets burned down or vandalized, or the next turn of the corner that they go to try to provide for their family, or go to a grocery store that they're going to be drug out of their car or attacked. And it's these types of things that people, you know, want to put the blinders on and not see. And you know, just got to continue to keep praying, and pray for our first responders, pray for our law enforcement, our military, our firefighters, all of our people that are out there on the front line trying to restore order and continue to carry on the laws of the land. And I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
I support you 100%, and you know that.
Thank you.
On the flip side of the coin, I'm not shocked by this, by the superintendent, because our schools are being socialized like we can't imagine. And on the other side of the coin, you got young ladies that are seniors at West Chaga High School that are openly promoting Black Lives Matter. They have no idea what they're really promoting, and nobody's saying a word. I mean, it's leading to the same thing that you're talking about with the superintendent.
Right.
But
And
they don't correct that.
And it's a situation that I think a lot of it also starts at home. And I think that what happens too many times, and I made this comment before, our children should be sent to school to be given an education and not given an opinion. And I think that's part of the problem that is happening. Is these kids here were courageous enough to come out with that flag and to show their respect to law enforcement and to the country. And all of a sudden, that's the wrong thing. So it's just it's unfortunate that they that enables a change of thinking, but it's just the world that we're living in right now. And I think that the silent majority finally has to come up and start to speak out and to be able to, my tax dollars pay this superintendent, and I don't want to support this superintendent that my tax dollars from where I live in the Chardon School District go to support him.
Amen.
Bottom line.
So, and thank God you've taken the position you have, because what you see is in large progressive cities, this infection where lawlessness is now okay. And like Steve and the gentleman back in the back here, I was in the service, I got an opportunity to travel the world and see other governments and the chaos and the disaster that those governments are. And I was always, like you heard said, when you come back to this country, you think, thank God I'm back in America again, because we're free and we have law here. Now I'm seeing it turn upside down, and I'm thinking, what the heck? And without people like you, Ralph, standing up and saying, no, not in my county, not in my town. It has got to stop here. We can't have this infection come into our communities. You got to stop it at some point in time. You got to
I
stand up and
appreciate
say no.
that. Howard?
It isn't the superintendents, whether it be Geauga County or West G, it's the boards of education, and they should all be listed, and because they pick the superintendent. The Board of Education is elected, at least
Correct.
it is in most cases. So it's the Board of Education made this decision. It was not the superintendent. He never would have even said anything unless he had the total support of the Board of Education. So I'd list the Board of Education people in my letter here so the people in Geauga County know what's going on.
I appreciate that.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
The boards of election are
And they're elected,
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
and they get paid for their jobs too, and plus benefits.
I thank you, and thanks for your service too in the Navy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Long time ago, Ralph.
Yep. Okay. Ma'am?
I also want to tell you that I do support the police, and thank you for all the years that you were in.
Thank you.
As a police officer. I mean, that thin line, the only thing that's what helps us between the law-abiding citizens and the anarchists. And they're there to protect us. If we need help, who are we going to call? And this is why we have to protect those people. I have 2 retired and 1 active policeman in my street, and the stories that they tell me. And I feel so bad for them, and, my heart goes out to them every time they have to go out.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I have a question for Mr. Dvorak. What are you planning on doing personally to support this cause?
I didn't know anything about what happened at Chardon High School football game.
I know, but you must have thoughts about it,
My thoughts are always support, the people in blue and have law and order. I mean, that's why the sense of community. People move in Geauga County, live here because they like the atmosphere of law and order, the atmosphere you can go to church wherever you want to go to church and be peaceful, or ride your bike on the bike path, and so on and so forth. this is one of the great counties in the state of Ohio. I always support the police, the fire, everybody. Again, I didn't know this happened until half an hour ago. I'm appalled that he would connect racism with the flag, the blue line flag. It's despicable. And I've talked to a lot of military guys, and exactly correct. When you're in a foreign land, the first thing is restore law and order. And we have law and order in Geauga County. We'll continue to support that forever and ever. This is the atmosphere that we live in. Geauga County, great place.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you for everyone coming out here today, and we're going to go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second.
Can I pass out something to the commissioners?
Sure.
I was gonna pass these out, last week when Mr. Quaid was here. He got kind of lengthy and I think everybody wanted to get. But these are, I could talk till I'm blue in the face and it wouldn't mean much. But these are from the webpage of 1851 Center for Constitutional Law. And these are the current cases that have been in court and won. A couple of them are up on appeal. This is about the infractions that Governor DeWine has been doing and the unconstitutionality of it. And there's, as you know now, there's a representative that moved to impeach him. And on the back end of that is something that ties in with everything that we're looking at now, we're talking about. It's the 45 goals of the Communist Party. And it was read in the Congressional Record in 1963.
Okay.
And
I'll take a look at it. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Eisenhower in 1954 signed executive order, the Communist Control Act of 54, to eliminate the Communist Party in the United States. And I have no idea why it's been pushed under the carpet.
Okay.
And it's a war to fight commies in Vietnam, and now I think that they're in my government.
Exactly.
Yes.